In this video, we will be discussing DNA fingerprinting and how we use it to solve the case of the missing Capri Sun. This case revolves around the Apples family. The family consists of Mr. Apples, his biological son Larson, his two adopted sons Justin and Cliff, and the family dog Bandit. It is important to note that since Justin and Cliff are adopted, they share no DNA with Mr. Apples. It is getting close to summer, so it's been getting hotter outside and the temperature is rising. Everyone in the Apples family wants to get their hands on a pouch Capri Sun during these hot times. One day there was only one Capri Sun pouch left. When no one was in the house, or so we thought, a mysterious figure walked up to the last Capri Sun pouch and took it for themselves. However, the mysterious figure did not realize the family dog, Bandit, witnessed everything and was present at the crime scene when the crime was committed. Later that day, everyone in the Apples family denied taking the last Capri Sun pouch. Since they were making no progress, they took it to the expert. A forensic scientist found two DNA samples at the crime scene and took DNA from everyone in the family. The DNA were amplified for two different VNTR loci and run on separate shells to create DNA fingerprints. Let's see whose DNA matches with the sample now. First, let's look at the first sample and the first locus. Immediately, we can see that the bands for Bandit and Cliff matches the band from the first sample exactly. We can also safely eliminate Justin, Larson, and Mr. Apples because none of their bands match. With this information, we can safely assume that Bandit and Cliff matches sample 1 for the first locus. Let's move on to sample 1 but in the second locus. Immediately again, we can see that Bandit and Larson's band matches the bands with the first sample. We can also see that there is one band match for Justin and Mr. Apples. We can also eliminate Cliff because none of his matches. With this information, we can say that Bandit and Larson match sample 1 for the second locus. With all of this information, we can conclude that sample 1 belongs to Bandit, the family dog, because his bands match sample 1 for both loci. This makes sense though, because Bandit is a witness and was present at the crime scene when the crime was committed. We need to analyze sample 2 to identify the real culprit. For the first locus, we can immediately see that Justin and Larson are a complete match. We can also see that Mr. Apples is a half match, so we can eliminate him. We can also eliminate Bandit and Cliff since they have no matches to sample 2 for the first locus. With this, we can conclude that Justin and Larson match sample 2 for the first locus. Let's do the same thing again, but do the second locus. We can immediately see again that Justin and Mr. Apples are a complete match to sample 2. We can also see that Bandit and Larson are a partial match, so we can eliminate them. We can also eliminate Cliff because he has no bands match. With this information, we can conclude that Justin matched sample 2 since all of his bands matches sample 2 between both loci, and he is the culprit that took the last Capri Sun. We can also verify a parent and their biological child through this method. Since the child shared 50% of their DNA from the father and 50% from the mother, we can verify this on the loci. We can see that since Larson is the biological child to Mr. Apples, he shares this band with his father, so we can assume that he shares this band with his mother, who is not shown. We can also see the same for the second locus. That concludes the case of the missing Capri Sun. Thank you for watching.